In the 3rd year after my death, Ding Liu Ruyan announced his engagement at his concert. I floated above, watching him become so emotional that he cried on stage. He finally ended up with the male lead, at a concert attended by tens of thousands. Liu Ruyan struck a chord with betrayed heart, sending the crowd into a frenzy. After finishing the song, he loudly announced, "Su-ran and I are getting married next month." Suddenly, Su-ran's image appeared on a huge screen behind the stage. He was sitting in the front row of the concert, tears in his eyes, smiling gently. I watched Liu Ruyan on stage, his eyes also red with emotion, his gaze locked tenderly onto Su-ran. He had truly forgotten me completely. Liu Ruyan's forgetting wasn't just letting go. It was genuine erasure. He didn't remember me anymore. He didn't recall there was once someone who stayed with him in a basement, who stayed up all night writing songs with him, who ran from one talent agency to another with him, who accompanied him every step of the way to stardom, and who ultimately died in that cold winter. Liu Ruyan never even knew I had died. He thought I'd simply abandoned him. With his hit song Betrayed Heart, he became famous across the entire country. Won Best Female Singer of the Year. During her acceptance speech, she looked straight into the camera and said, "I made it. We don't have to sleep in basements anymore. I bought a big house. Please come back soon." She didn't know I'd already been dead for a year by then. My soul had always stayed by her side, never leaving even after the award ceremony ended. After the event, Su-ran, the other rising star singer, approached her to offer congratulations. She still didn't know that he was destined to be with the male lead, and I was merely her fleeting first love, the supporting male role. After that, Liu Ruyan kept running into Su-ran at various events, but every time Su-ran tried to be friendly, she ignored him completely, even actively avoiding him. She had once promised me that even if she became a top star, she would remain faithful, and she kept that promise. But this world wouldn't allow her to stay true, so she gradually began to forget. She forgot everything that happened between us, forgot I ever existed. Slowly she started accepting Su-ran, and eventually fell in love with him after the concert ended. Su-ran waited for Liu Ruyan in the backstage lounge. Liu Ruyan gave Su-ran a big hug, embraced deeply. Everyone around them offered their blessings. Everyone thought they were perfect for each other. They had countless CP fans, and the whole internet celebrated their union. Liu Ruyan buried her face in Su-ran's neck, just as she used to do with me. She once told me she loved the scent of my skin. Now, she's finally fallen for another man. Su-ran, what happened to the mole on your neck? It's gone. Liu Ruyan suddenly asked Su-ran. Su-ran was taken aback for a moment, then looked at Liu Ruyan and said, "I've never had a mole on my neck." "There definitely was one," Liu Ruyan insisted. "Really, there isn't," Su-ran replied. "I've never had a mole on my neck." I floated above, smiling bitterly. "Fool, the one with the mole was me." Liu Ruyan loved that mole of mine so much. She once said, "If you ever get lost, I'll find you again just by that mole." My vision blurred slightly. Liu Ruyan, she'll never find me again. Maybe I remembered wrong, Su-ran said with a smile. Liu Ruyan nodded silently, and murmured, "I feel like I keep forgetting things lately." "That's because you're under too much pressure. You lock yourself in your room creating things every day. Anyone would suffer a nervous breakdown." Su-ran said gently and considerately. "But it's fine now. The company has given us a 6-month vacation. We'll go on our honeymoon right after we get married. From now on, just relax and take it easy." Liu Ruyan smiled brightly. Yes, she was probably already looking forward to her wedding with Su-ran. Liu Ruyan and Su-ran were preparing for their wedding together. They went to choose their marital home, ordered wedding dresses, and picked out wedding rings. For the past 3 years, I stayed by Liu Ruyan's side, watching step by step as he met, got to know, fell in love with, and became engaged to Su-ran. I don't know how long my soul will keep following Liu Ruyan. I once thought that once Liu Ruyan forgot about me, I would vanish completely. Yet now I'm still wandering alone in this world. 1 week before the wedding, Liu Ruyan received an invitation to a college reunion. The class monitor said, "A big star like you can't act aloof." He even asked Liu Ruyan to ring, or else just come together and say that many of their classmates were fans of Su-ran. Liu Ruyan agreed. She had previously declined because she'd been too busy with work, with too many commitments, and no time to spare. This time though, she happened to be on vacation. Liu Ruyan and Su-ran's arrival sent the whole class into an uproar. Everyone swarmed around them. I floated above, also carefully observing our old classmates. It's been so long, I was amazed at how much everyone had changed. Our once stern class monitor now had dyed yellow hair. The class beauty, who used to obsess over her figure, had gained a lot of weight, like she'd been blown up. Even Tang Haozi, the skinniest guy in class, was now all muscle. Of course, the one who changed the most was me. From human to ghost. I listened eagerly as they reminisced about university days, as if it all happened yesterday. Yet 78 years had already passed. Back in college, Liu Ruyan was already known as a musical prodigy. Every arts gala featured Liu Ruyan's solo singing and piano performance. Countless boys on campus were utterly infatuated with him. Suddenly, one classmate brought up, but back then, Liu Ruyan was already taken. They were even considered the model couple of the school. His voice abruptly stopped, as if realizing he'd spoken out of turn after drinking. Others quickly stepped in to smooth things over, trying to skip over this awkward topic. But Liu Ruyan suddenly asked, "Did I have a boyfriend in college?" The atmosphere instantly turned tense. Even floating above, I could feel the air growing thick with tension. I was nervous too. I saw Su-ran open his mouth as if to say something, when suddenly a mocking voice cut through the room. "What, now that you're a famous star, you want to erase your embarrassing past?" It was Chung Fei, my college roommate. We were very close. He knew about most of my secrets. He was the last person with me when I died. When Liu Ruyan agreed to attend the reunion, I'd actually felt happy inside. I wanted to see Chung Fei again. When I died back then, he cried his heart out. Now he looked perfectly healthy, though his expression had been sour all evening. While everyone else fawned over Liu Ruyan and Su, when they got affectionate, I noticed his eyes filled with resentment. Liu Ruyan looked shocked. "What do you mean?" Chung Fei roared. "I feel utterly ashamed for Fang Yuan." Suddenly Su-ran cried out in pain. "Liu Ruyan, I suddenly feel really dizzy. I don't know if it's Meniere's syndrome." Acting up, Liu Ruyan immediately shifted her attention to Su-ran. She looked extremely worried. "How are you feeling? Should we go to the hospital?" "Okay," Su-ran nodded. Liu Ruyan supported Su-ran and said to the other classmates, "Sorry, Su-ran isn't feeling well. I'll take her to the hospital first." And with that she led Su-ran away. My soul, unable to control itself, could only follow Liu Ruyan, and thus had no choice but to leave. I glanced back at Cheng Fei. She glared angrily at Liu Ruyan and Su-ran's retreating figures, her eyes red and brimming with heartache. She was doing this for me. "It's really nothing, Cheng Fei. I'm actually fine right now." Seeing Liu Ruyan happy truly is wonderful. Liu Ruyan and Su-ran got into the chauffeur-driven car. Liu Ruyan let Su-ran rest her head on her lap, and gently massaged her temples, trying her best to minimize any jostling from the ride. Liu Ruyan was always so caring. Once, when I had a fever from a bad cold, Liu Ruyan stayed up with me all night, giving me physical cooling, feeding me medicine, reminding me to drink warm water, and even singing softly in my ear old childhood nursery rhymes. "Ruyan, I feel awful." Su-ran suddenly spoke, frowning in discomfort. Liu Ruyan anxiously comforted her. "Where does it hurt?" "Don't be scared, we're almost at the hospital." "Lower your face a bit more," Su-ran weakly requested. Liu Ruyan quickly complied. Suddenly, Su-ran lifted her head and pressed a firm kiss onto Liu Ruyan's lips. Liu Ruyan froze in surprise. Su-ran teased mischievously. "Just kidding, I'm fine now." This time, it was Liu Ruyan who pulled Su-ran into a deep, lingering kiss. Floating above them, I laughed until tears blurred my vision. It wasn't okay after all. My heart still hurt so much. They kissed for a long time. When they finally parted, both their faces were flushed with shyness. They'd officially been a couple for a year, yet had never crossed that final boundary. Liu Ruyan's voice carried a hint of desire, but Fang Yuan's happy smile froze instantly. Liu Ruyan herself seemed startled too. He didn't understand why those two words slipped out so naturally. It's been such a long time since he last called my name. I answered softly, but he couldn't hear me as I clutched my chest, overwhelmed by unbearable heartache. Su Ran quickly regained his usual composure and pouted adorably. I'm not allowed to eat sugar. My agent says I have to cut down on sugar. It's really annoying. A shadow of gloom flickered in Liu Ruyan's eyes, as if tangled in some unsolvable confusion, but it vanished almost immediately. He said affectionately, then let's sneak some anyway. Su Ran sat up from Liu Ruyan's lap and nestled into his embrace, pressing tightly against his chest. I saw Su Ran gripping Liu Ruyan's clothes, his hands unconsciously tightening. He was afraid Liu Ruyan might remember something. He had always known I existed. The first time I met Su Ran was 4 years ago. Back then, I was still daydreaming with Liu Ruyan about our beautiful future. Although at that time, Liu Ruyan was still completely unknown. His demo tapes kept getting rejected by record label after record label. They said his music was too poetic, too niche, completely out of sync with mainstream trends. Liu Ruyan even considered conforming to the mainstream once. She tried to change her creative style, but every piece of music she created was unsatisfactory. She even suffered greatly during the process of creation. I couldn't bear to see him treating himself so poorly. I told him there would always be someone like me who appreciates his music and admires her talent. I encouraged her to keep doing what she truly loved. Liu Ruyan hugged me tightly. He said, Fang Yuan, wait until I become famous. I'll make sure you live the best life possible. So in our spare time, we always dream together about our future, imagining ourselves living in a big house, facing the sea with spring warmth and blooming flowers. I always firmly believed that Liu Ruyan and I would surely be happy together someday, until Su Ran told me that Liu Ruyan and I wouldn't have a good ending. I refused to believe it. She said she was the male lead, who had transmigrated into this book. Liu Ruyan was the female lead, and I was merely Liu Ruyan's white moonlight supporting male character. And within a month, I would be diagnosed with late-stage stomach cancer, and die half a year later. He said, white moonlight exists only to be remembered. He is the one who will ultimately belong with Liu Ruyan. At first, I didn't take her words seriously, until not long after meeting him. I started having stomach pains and vomiting blood. I hid it from Liu Ruyan, and went to the hospital for tests first. The results were exactly as Su Ran had said. Diagnosed with late-stage stomach cancer. I was only 24 years old then, yet my life was about to come to an end. I couldn't imagine I was going to die. I couldn't even begin to imagine what Liu Ruyan would do without me. Instinctively, I went straight to find Su Ran at that moment. I held on to my last shred of hope, hoping perhaps there might still be a turning point. Su Ran clearly told me there wasn't one. He said the rules of this world couldn't be changed by anyone. He said the only reason he came to tell me everything in advance was because he hoped I'd leave Liu Ruyan willingly, so Liu Ruyan could forget me through hatred. He said if I truly loved Liu Ruyan, I should think about Liu Ruyan's future, and shouldn't let Liu Ruyan drown in grief over my death, unable to move on. Liu Ruyan still has a more brilliant life ahead that I must help fulfill. But aren't they the main leads? Aren't they each other's destined ending? Why do they need my sacrifice to fulfill their happiness? I didn't ask Su Ran, because no matter what the answer was, my fate was death either way. I concealed everything, and returned to the basement where Liu Ruyan and I lived. Liu Ruyan picked me up immediately, and spun around wildly. Her face was full of joy. Fang Yuan, the demo I sent out got a reply from a record label. They want me to go to their office tomorrow for a detailed discussion. Fang Yuan, I think I'm finally going to succeed. I'll never forget how bright and dazzling the light was in Liu Ruyan's eyes that day. It was as if I could already see him shining brilliantly on stage years later. I was terrified that one day that light in his eyes might fade because of me. So I resigned myself, even though my heart ached. No. Why should this world have predetermined main characters? Why should the male lead automatically get all the happiness? Why must I exit their world in such a tragic way? Why can't I be the male lead? But in the end, all my resentment dissolved into nothingness, leaving only acceptance and sacrifice. The next day, Liu Ruyan asked me to accompany him to the talent agency. I made an excuse to refuse, but he didn't suspect anything. As he left, he excitedly said to me, Fang Yuan, wait for me. I'll bring you good news when I come back. He walked away full of confidence. Even his back view radiated hope, but he didn't know that the moment he turned around, it would be our final goodbye. I didn't have the courage to say farewell to him in person. To see his sadness, I was afraid I wouldn't be able to bring myself to leave. After packing up my belongings, I left behind a note. Liu Ruyan, I'm exhausted. I'm leaving. I don't want to keep chasing your dreams with you anymore. If one day you stand on the brightest stage, I'll be there cheering for you. I blocked all of Liu Ruyan's contact information. I even changed my phone number. After leaving Liu Ruyan, my condition deteriorated rapidly. Su Ran's prediction of 6 months really did leave me only half a year. My fate seemed truly predetermined, absurd and tragic. During those 6 months, I checked Liu Ruyan's updates every single day. At first, he wasn't famous yet, so I could only follow his life through his Weibo posts. On the first day after I left, he posted, I succeeded. Come back quickly. On the 7th day after I left, he posted, my company decided to release my solo album. I'll earn my first income soon. Come back quickly. 1 month after I left, he posted, my company signed me up for a talent show. I'm going to compete. They'll pay me appearance fees. Come back quickly. 2 months after I left, he posted that he'd made it to the finals. I'll get performance fees every time I win a round. 3 months after I left, he posted, I won 3rd place. My company says they'll heavily promote me. I've signed my first endorsement deal. Come back quickly. After that, he never updated his Weibo again. His account had been officially verified, and he even deleted all his previous posts. Fortunately, he started gaining some fame, so I could still follow his career online. His debut single gained minor recognition right away, and he began appearing on small variety shows. Gradually, he started showing up on screens more often. Sadly, I didn't live long enough to see him become truly famous. I was about to die. A few days before my death, I contacted Cheng Fei. Cheng Fei rushed excitedly to the hospital to see me. He assumed I was ill, together with Liu Ruyan. By then, Liu Ruyan had already gained some fame, so Cheng Fei thought I'd finally weathered the storm and seen better days. He never expected to find me emaciated and ravaged by illness. Why is this happening? Cheng Fei asked me through tears. Truthfully, I also wanted to know why this was happening. Why must the supporting male character never find happiness? I asked Cheng Fei to handle my funeral arrangements and bury me. There's no way I can afford burial in Beijing. I don't have any other friends, so please take me back to my hometown and bury me anywhere you can. I don't really have family back home either. Both Liu Ruyan and I are orphans. After leaving the orphanage, we only had each other. Now, only Liu Ruyan remains alone. No, Liu Ruyan still has the male lead. He won't be lonely. Cheng Fei asked me why I didn't let Liu Ruyan. I came to keep you company because Liu Ruyan is famous now. So, is he saying to you now? No, I left him on my own initiative. I didn't want to become his burden. But Fang Yuan, don't tell Liu Ruyan. Never tell him for the rest of your life. Was it worth it for me to die? Liu Ruyan was worth it. I died on a winter night. It snowed heavily that day. I suddenly remembered the times Liu Ruyan and I warmed each other in that basement without floor heating. Liu Ruyan probably doesn't feel cold anymore these days. At the moment I closed my eyes, I thought my life was ending right there. I never expected that after death, I'd become a wandering soul. My soul uncontrollably floated back to Liu Ruyan's side. On the night I died, he was actually still in the basement we once lived in. She curled up in bed, shivering from the cold. Silly Liu Ruyan. Aren't you rich now? Why haven't you left this place yet? Eventually, Liu Ruyan did leave, forced by the agency to move out, because there was no security there, which isn't safe for an artist. Under the agency's arrangements, Liu Ruyan moved into an apartment not luxurious, but still incredibly valuable, being inside Beijing's 3rd Ring Road. In that small apartment, Liu Ruyan buried himself in creating music, except for necessary public appearances. He locked himself in his room all the time. During that period, I kept wondering, isn't Su Ran the male lead? Why? Hasn't he appeared in Liu Ruyan's world yet? Why let Liu Ruyan stay lonely for so long? Later, I figured Su Ran must be waiting for the right moment. After all, Liu Ruyan spent way too much time at home, and Su Ran couldn't just break into someone's private residence. Half a year after my death, Liu Ruyan composed the song Rebel Star, Rebel King. The moment it was released, it swept across the entire country and even Asia. Liu Ruyan skyrocketed to fame. His opportunities multiplied. He kept getting more and more resources, and earned loads of money. But I couldn't sense any happiness from him. Aside from obligations arranged by his company, he still shut himself away during his free time, constantly composing, as if apart from creating music, he couldn't find anything else worth doing. This made it impossible for Su Ran to get close to Liu Ruyan. So Liu Ruyan started forgetting about me. When did I first realize Liu Ruyan was gradually forgetting me? It seemed like just an ordinary morning. He casually threw away the couple's toothbrushes we bought together. I had already taken mine with me when I died. His had been used until now. The bristles were completely worn out, long overdue for replacement, yet he always kept it until that morning. After brushing his teeth, he disdainfully tossed it away. At first, I thought he was finally learning to let go of me. Since he'd waited for me for over a year, he should have given up hope by now. But later, I realized he genuinely stopped missing me. One day, the orphanage director reached out to him via Weibo, asking if he could return to help promote a charity event. Liu Ruyan immediately agreed and went back to his hometown. Back to the place where we'd lived together for so many years. The director said, little Li loved playing with Feng Yuan when you were kids. Remember that time you fell from a tree for Feng Yuan's sake? You still have the scar on your forehead. Liu Ruyan looked at the director in confusion, murmuring my name Feng Yuan. But at that moment, I sensed a trace of unfamiliarity in his voice. He said, I don't remember falling from a tree. The dean just smiled and didn't say much. He probably thought Liu Ruyan was famous now, and shouldn't dwell on past embarrassing incidents anymore. Later, Liu Ruyan returned to Beijing to appear on a variety show. The host asked Liu Ruyan, when was your first love? Liu Ruyan blurted out, I never had a first love. Liu Ruyan's answer even trended online. I know Liu Ruyan's character all too well. He would never compromise his principles just for publicity. She really just forgot about me. But I don't understand why he suddenly lost his memory like this. He didn't suffer any major accident until after that incident. When I saw Liu Ruyan accept Su Ran. Before, no matter how much the company pressured Liu Ruyan to collaborate with Su Ran, he always firmly refused. But later, Liu Ruyan kept writing songs for Su Ran. They often composed music together late into the night, even until dawn. I watched as admiration in Liu Ruyan's eyes for Su Ran gradually turned into affection, and finally blossomed into deep love. Only then did I realize that this world truly goes to any lengths to bring the male and female leads together. It could even make me vanish completely from this world, without leaving a single trace. The day after the class reunion ended, Liu Ruyan accompanied Su Ran to try on the wedding suit. Su Ran's suit was custom made by Liu Ruyan herself in France. Unlike other suits they'd picked before, this one truly reflected Liu Ruyan's feelings. Su Ran excitedly went into the fitting room to try it on. She stayed inside for quite a while, before finally coming out, barely able to breathe. What's wrong, Liu? Liu Ruyan clearly noticed Su Ran's discomfort. She examined the perfectly tailored suit up and down. Su Ran said uncomfortably, it's too tight, I can hardly breathe. How could this happen? I had it custom made based on your measurements. Why would it be tight? Liu Ruyan looked utterly baffled. Could you have gained weight these past few months? Gained weight. I've been working out to look perfect for our wedding. Su Ran was annoyed. I even lost 2 pounds at the gym. Liu Ruyan frowned. I don't know what went wrong. Staff quickly brought out Liu Ruyan's original order form. Miss Liu, please check. Was this the measurement you provided us? Liu Ruyan nodded. Suddenly she took it and glanced at it closely. Her expression changed instantly. She complained. Liu Ruyan, you're so careless. These aren't my measurements at all. Yes, they are. I know them by heart. Liu Ruyan stood frozen, suddenly overwhelmed. Her eyes filled with confusion. Of course I'm not floating above. My eyes welled up again, stung by Liu Ruyan. She ordered it using my measurements. Once, when Liu Ruyan and I were dreaming about our future together, we suddenly started talking about marriage. I said, when we get married, Liu Ruyan will surely be famous and wealthy by then. At that time, I'll have Liu Ruyan custom make me the most dashing suit from France. Liu Ruyan immediately agreed, even enthusiastically measuring my size with a soft tape measure. He promised to give me a surprise someday. If only he knew that not only did he fail to give me that surprise, but gave it to someone else instead. Would he feel a little heartbroken? Liu Ruyan, you even forgot my measurements. Even Su Ran, who usually had the best temper, was genuinely angry now. After all, this is for their wedding. There's simply not enough time to have it custom made now. Liu Ruyan remained silent, perhaps blaming herself. Liu Ruyan looks up at Su Ran. She says, Su Ran, I seem to have forgotten someone. The still pouting Su Ran turns instantly pale. His eyes flash with panic. He opens his mouth to say something, but it seems hesitant of saying the wrong thing. Sorry, I need some time alone. Liu Ruyan turns and leaves. Su Ran grabs Liu Ruyan. She urgently says, don't overthink it. It's just a few wrong numbers. It's fine. Besides, this suit is just a bit tight. It's not unwearable. At worst, you'll work hard in these last few days and lose a couple of pounds. Liu Ruyan gradually presses Su Ran's hand away. Even though regret fills her eyes, she still leaves Su Ran's side. I watch Su Ran in a state of panic, almost in despair. It feels as if Liu Ruyan is really about to abandon her. But is it even really? Why is he so scared? Liu Ruyan drives aimlessly through the streets. She is enveloped by an indescribable sadness. Perhaps Liu Ruyan doesn't even know why she feels this way. I sit in the passenger seat. I say, you're getting married to Su Ran. So what are you overthinking now? Hurry back. How can you leave the male lead unattended? Silly, go back to your male lead quickly. You two will be very happy. I've tried to persuade you many times, but Liu Ruyan just won't listen. I saw him suddenly pull over to the side of the road. After surveying the surroundings, my heart began to race. This is where Liu Ruyan and I once lived in the basement. How could he come here? I watch him navigate through the dirty, messy alleys, walk past the noisy residential corridors, and stand at the basement door. Then he pauses for a long while. After a long while, Liu Ruyan suddenly steps aside, revealing the withered flower vase on the windowsill that had long wilted. Beneath it, the key is suddenly placed. I recall one time I left home without my key. Liu Ruyan went again to deliver a demo to the agency, and I waited outside for quite a while, waiting for Liu Ruyan to come back. Later, worried I'd be locked out again, Liu Ruyan left a spare key under the vase. When he left this place, he didn't take the key. He even, as he left, bought this place at 3 times the market price. But shouldn't he have forgotten all that? Liu Ruyan unlocks the door with the key. Liu Ruyan, don't go in. I sway in midair, calling out to him in panic. Liu Ruyan doesn't pause. He goes straight in. Once inside, Liu Ruyan's expression changes abruptly. He's shocked by the scene before him. He looks around in disbelief. Looking inside, it's filled with photos of him and me. One day after Liu Ruyan forgot about me, his phone fell into the toilet. By the time he picked it up, it was already ruined. Once inside his phone, all the memories of him and me vanished in that moment. But now, they resurfaced in a heart-wrenching way, right before his eyes. He stood in place for a long time. After a long while, he slowly walked over. He picked up the first picture frame. It was our college graduation photo. We were wearing academic gowns. Our heads were leaning against each other as we smiled sweetly. At that time, our classmates were teasing us. They said we looked like we were taking wedding photos. He picked up the second picture frame. It was my birthday. Liu Ruyan bought me a small cake and a bouquet of flowers. In the photo, I was holding the bouquet. She turned her head and kissed my face. Both of our faces still showed traces of cream. Then he picked up the third and fourth picture frames. I watched Liu Ruyan's eyes gradually redden. I saw his emotions slowly spiraling out of control. I heard his choked, trembling voice, calling my name. Liu Ruyan, I'm replying to him, but he couldn't hear me. I'm sorry, he said. He kept repeating it. Tears streamed down his cheeks in large drops. He apologized to me again, because he had forgotten about me. It's okay, Liu Ruyan. My heart ached terribly. I earnestly told him, this isn't your fault. It's just fate's design. Fate made us part. Fate made you fall for another boy. I didn't blame you. I've always been wishing you well. Maybe at first it was hard to accept that Liu Ruyan could love another man. I couldn't even imagine that day coming. Later, he shut himself off in his own world. He didn't even smile anymore. I began to worry that Su Ran still hadn't entered his life. I saw how deeply they loved each other. My heart felt as though it were being cut with a knife. But watching Liu Ruyan's face light up with a smile again, I was just relieved that Liu Ruyan was the heroine. Because the heroine naturally carries a halo. Her future will be smooth and prosperous. Liu Ruyan took out her phone. Her eyes were red. She snapped our photos one by one. After taking the photos, he had no intention of leaving. He seriously examined the basement where we once lived. This place held our memories, and he seemed afraid of forgetting them. So he looked over and over again. Suddenly, he walked toward a corner. There was a fruit knife there. He picked it up. Liu Ruyan, what are you going to do? I looked at his actions in horror. I called out to him loudly. He picked up the fruit knife and started toying with it. I wanted to stop him, but I couldn't reach him. I saw him carving some words onto his arm. Liu Ruyan loves Fan Zhuan. Stroke by stroke, he carved with utmost care. He carved so deeply. Blood stained his arm red, but he didn't seem to feel any pain. After finishing the carving on his left arm, he began engraving on his right arm. He said, Fang Yan. So I won't forget. I'll never forget. Liu Ruyan, she was truly afraid of forgetting me again. But Liu Ruyan, I'm already dead. A dead man is meant to be forgotten. Drifting in the air, my heart was in excruciating agony, but there was nothing I could do. I couldn't bandage Liu Ruyan's wounds. I couldn't tell Liu Ruyan that I hoped she would forget me. I couldn't even help by blowing on her wounds. Liu Ruyan picked up her phone again. She skillfully dialed the number. That was my phone number. But when she called, someone else had already answered. He had known all along that I'd changed my number. He just didn't want to miss any possible chance. He fell silent for a moment. Then he dialed the class monitor's number and got Cheng Fei's phone number from him. My heart sank. I saw Cheng Fei answer Liu Ruyan's call. Liu, the big star, how could you possibly spare time to call me? Cheng Fei, I'm looking for Fang Yuan. Do you know where he is? Her tone was humble yet hopeful, and Cheng Fei laughed mockingly. He said, Liu Ruyan, you're about to get married. Why are you still asking about Fang Yuan? Greedy, aren't you, wanting what's in your bowl and eyeing what's in the pot? She seemed to be struggling hard to control her emotions. Cheng Fei mocked again. Liu Ruyan, you can't be this shameless. You claimed you never dated anyone in college. You told the whole world that Su Ran was your first love. Why are you coming back for Fang Yuan now? Are you trying to slap yourself in the face or just hurt Fang Yuan? Back then, it was Fang Yuan who left first. Afterward, I couldn't find him anywhere. Later on, I think I just forgot about him. Until today, I suddenly remembered. Liu Ruyan tried to explain to Cheng Fei after spending so long in the entertainment industry. Even cliche excuses like lost touch are being used now. Cheng Fei only thought Liu Ruyan was making excuses. No matter your reason, I won't tell you where Fang Yuan is. Because you don't deserve to see him again. After saying that, Cheng Fei decisively hung up the phone. I breathed a sigh of relief. Cheng Fei kept my secret from me. He must still remember what I asked him to do. However, Liu Ruyan didn't give up. He went to look for Cheng Fei at his workplace. He waited there all day. Then he went to Cheng Fei's home and waited there all night. Liu Ruyan, refusing to eat or drink, staying awake without rest, collapsed the next day right outside Cheng Fei's front door. Panicked, Cheng Fei rushed him to the hospital. Cheng Fei looked at Liu Ruyan's pale face lying in the hospital bed and noticed the marks on his arms, fresh mosquito bites everywhere. Cheng Fei sighed. He asked, do you really want to see Fang Yuan that badly? Liu Ruyan nodded desperately. Buy 2 plane tickets. I'll go with you to see Fang Yuan. Cheng Fei gave in. Cheng Fei and Liu Ruyan returned together to our hometown. Only then did I realize Cheng Fei had buried me on the hill behind the orphanage. I once told Cheng Fei about my childhood, so he chose the resting place that meant the most to me. I was deeply moved, but Cheng Fei, you promised me you wouldn't tell Liu Ruyan that I was dead. Yet now you've brought Liu Ruyan right to my grave. I couldn't even bear to look at Liu Ruyan. I didn't know how he would accept the fact that I was already gone. I didn't know how heartbroken he'd be. I'm sorry, Fang Yuan. Cheng Fei wept uncontrollably in front of my tombstone. I broke my promise. I brought Liu Ruyan to see you after all. Will you hate me for it? But I couldn't let you do so much for Liu Ruyan. While he remained completely unaware. While he could calmly move on, date another man, and get married. How can he be allowed such happiness while you lie here alone, forever buried in solitude? The world shouldn't be so unfair. Cheng Fei was furious. He was angry at Liu Ruyan for being so passionately entangled with another man. He was angry at Liu Ruyan. Has she forgotten me already? How long has Fang Yuan been dead? Liu Ruyan suddenly spoke. Her tone was far calmer than I'd expected. Maybe Liu Ruyan had already anticipated this. Perhaps from the moment I left, Liu Ruyan knew something had happened to me. She just refused to believe it. Cheng Fei wiped away his tears and said, it's been 3 years. Stage 4 cancer. Wound discovered. He only had half a year left to live. He was afraid of burdening you. Afraid you'd be heartbroken by his death. Afraid you couldn't accept it. Afraid it would ruin your future. So he chose to leave alone. Liu Ruyan's throat tightened. Emotions churned violently within her. Liu Ruyan, I don't know if you've truly forgotten Fang Yuan. Even if you found true love now. Even if you no longer love Fang Yuan. You shouldn't forget him. He really was the person who loved you most in this world. After Cheng Fei finished speaking, he left eyes red with tears. At that moment, Liu Ruyan probably wanted to see me alone. After Cheng Fei left, Liu Ruyan crouched down. He looked at my grave. Just a small mound. Without a headstone. Maybe because Cheng Fei visited me every year. The grave wasn't overgrown with weeds. I watched as Liu Ruyan's trembling hands reached out to touch my tomb, but pulled back just before making contact. Fang Yuan, he said, I feel dirty now. That's why he didn't dare touch me. He was afraid to despise him. My heart shattered suddenly, shattering into countless pieces, unbearably sad. Liu Ruyan, you're not dirty. Not at all. I shouted to tell him. But he couldn't hear me, only the gentle wind passed by his ears. I don't know why you just forgot. Without any warning, you suddenly vanished. You suddenly disappeared from my world. Liu Ruyan, his voice grew choked until it turned into sobs. Even though he had steeled himself mentally, Liu Ruyan was still overwhelmed with pain. I couldn't comfort Liu Ruyan. I could only silently watch her suffering until she lost control completely. That day Liu Ruyan stayed by my grave for a very, very long time. The wind that day was incredibly strong. The next day, Liu Ruyan returned to Beijing with Cheng Fi, because his agents had been looking for him constantly, and Su Ran had also been searching for him. After returning, the first thing he did was go see Su Ran in the wedding house they had just bought. In just 2 or 3 days, Su Ran seemed to have lost a great deal of weight. Maybe now he could actually fit into that suit. Look at Liu Ruyan. The male lead truly loves you. Don't betray her. But Liu Ruyan had grown cold. His gaze toward her strangely distant. When Su Ran saw Liu Ruyan, there was no joy as one might expect. The moment she looked at him, her face turned even paler, as if on Liu Ruyan's face she had seen something utterly unbearable. They remained silent for a long while. Then Liu Ruyan said, Su Ran, I'm sorry, but our wedding can't go ahead. Su Ran's tears uncontrollably streamed down her cheeks. Su Ran asked why. Only now do I realize the person I love was never you. Su Ran interrupted him. But she's already dead. Just like. He stood there stunned, not understanding why. Su Ran would know he was dead. Why can't you just let go of yourself? Su Ran became emotional. She bit her lip, trying to calm herself down again. Liu Ruyan, I don't believe you've never loved me. I don't believe all those beautiful moments between us. Not even a shred of nostalgia? Before I forget him, we really did have so many beautiful memories. But after remembering him, those beautiful memories turned into betrayal. Liu Ruyan said, I can't betray him again. Nor can I betray myself. Then just forget him, and there won't be any betrayal. Forget him, and we'll be happy together. Su Ran said softly, filled with deep sorrow. She had cast aside all her pride, becoming so humble as she begged him. From above, I also pleaded with Liu Ruyan. Listen to the male lead, just forget me. Liu Ruyan, please forget. But Liu Ruyan remained unmoved, firmly replying, if you've loved someone, you can't forget them. Never again. Liu Ruyan, you've wronged Su Ran. I'll announce it publicly. I'll take all the blame upon myself, so it won't affect you at all. Liu Ruyan spoke resolutely. After finishing, he turned and walked away. Liu Ruyan, Su Ran called out loudly after him. Do you know why Fang Yuan died? Do you know why you forgot Fang Yuan? Because you were never meant to be together. Liu Ruyan turned back to look at Su Ran, his eyes flashing with anger. What do you mean by meant to be? I might as well stop hiding it from you. The world we're in right now. You and I are the main characters. Fang Yuan is your white moonlight, the supporting male lead. Her fate is to die. Only through death can she complete our story. Our storyline has long been fixed. No one can change it. I'm telling you the rules of this world are absolute. No one can defy them. If you insist on going against it, you'll pay a price. A price. I don't care. Liu Ruyan said coldly. This world has wronged Fang Yuan. Why should I let it get what it wants? What does this world matter to me? Su Ran tightly bit her lip as Liu Ruyan strode away. As he left, he said, Fang Yuan is my world. Su Ran watched Liu Ruyan's retreating figure, her eyes red and brimming with overwhelming grief. Yet she remained utterly silent. Hovering above, I grew anxious. Su Ran, didn't you say Liu Ruyan is your female lead? Say something. Tell her not to leave you. Hurry up and tell her how much you love her. Liu Ruyan is kind-hearted. She'll soften if you plead. Even threatening to die could work. Don't give up on Liu Ruyan. Didn't you say, if Liu Ruyan doesn't follow the plot, she'll die? She can't die. You mustn't die. But in the end, Su Ran didn't say a word. He just stood there, watching Liu Ruyan leave. He looked dazed. His face was filled with despair. Yet Su Ran clearly made no effort to stop Liu Ruyan. Why did he just give up? Why didn't he keep fighting for himself, when she clearly loves him so much? Liu Ruyan publicly announced the news that she and Su Ran had cancelled their wedding. He took all the blame upon himself. He accused her of starting the chaos and then abandoning him. And he said that she had wronged Su Ran. Liu Ruyan's image plummeted. She was instantly boycotted by Quan Wang. Liu Ruyan chose to withdraw from the industry. Before retiring, Liu Ruyan lost a lot of money, to the point of almost being ruined. The manager asked him, do you regret it? He didn't know what had really happened to Liu Ruyan. When Liu Ruyan insisted on canceling the wedding with Su, the manager strongly opposed it. He wouldn't allow her to announce it publicly, nor did he allow her to smear his reputation like that. But Liu Ruyan didn't listen, so the manager didn't help him, nor did he retaliate by ruining her reputation. He ended up with nothing. When Ruyan left Beijing, the manager still came to the airport to see her off. Liu Ruyan was nurtured entirely by him, and after developing her career to this point, he couldn't help but feel regret. If Liu Ruyan were to change her mind now, perhaps the manager could let him start over again. I also hope that Liu Ruyan will reconsider. His future is still so vast and so bright. Liu Ruyan said, I once really wanted to stand in the spotlight on stage. I wanted to prove myself, but the one who was by my side is no longer here, and everything just lost its meaning. I'm sorry for letting you down. Without a backward glance, Liu Ruyan walked into the airport. The manager was very angry, but he still called out to her departing figure, if you ever regret it, come find me. Liu Ruyan waved her hand. As a final farewell, Liu Ruyan then returned to her hometown. He went to an orphanage, and he stayed there, helping the director take care of the children. He led them in singing and dancing, told them stories, and in his spare time he would visit my grave. He often brought a guitar to sing for me, talking to me about countless things. Yet it seemed that he would often forget about me. Sometimes in the middle of a story, he'd forget what he was saying. But every time, as soon as he looked down at the words on his arm, it was as if he remembered me again. He stayed by my side, rain or shine, for a whole year, though it was only 1 year. Meanwhile, Liu Ruyan's health deteriorated more and more. He who once briskly hurried to my grave now found himself out of breath, and her hair had turned from black to speckled with gray. It seemed as if her entire life was over in just 1 year. Today, as usual, after finishing class with the orphanage children, he came to my grave. He sang for me that song, A Hopeful Heart Rebels, and after finishing, he said, Fang Yuan, I won't wait for you anymore. Nodding earnestly, I replied, Liu Ruyan, you should have never waited for me. You should have started living your own life long ago. Go back to the male lead quickly. Liu Ruyan slowly got up from the ground. The wind blew through his hair, and through his clothes. His thin, frail back staggered beneath the vast, dusky sky. In that moment, I suddenly saw an old, lonely man in his twilight years. Yet Liu Ruyan was only 29 years old. I thought Liu Ruyan was finally going back to the male lead. He knew better than anyone just how poor his health had become. He also understood clearly that this condition resulted from deviating from the original storyline. At this point, if he returned to the male lead side, perhaps everything could still start anew. But after descending the mountain, he collapsed right at the orphanage's gate. The director rushed him to the hospital immediately. I watched Liu Ruyan's broken body, lying on the hospital bed, barely clinging to life. He asked the director, how much longer do I have to live? The elderly director's eyes instantly reddened. He didn't know how to answer. Liu Ruyan, however, seemed oddly at peace. Just a few more days, is that it? The director struggled to control his emotions. Little Leah, the doctor said, your internal organs are already comparable to those of a human. In their 70s. What exactly have you been through all these years? How could this happen? Even the doctor said, they'd never seen anything like it. Liu Ruyan offered no explanation. Director, the director said, let me send you to Beijing for treatment. The medical facilities here aren't good enough. Liu Ruyan shook his head faintly. It's useless, he added. Director, after I die, there are a few things I'd like to ask of you. Tears kept welling up in the director's eyes. He nodded repeatedly. Back when I terminated my contract with the company, I had to pay a huge penalty, but I still have some savings left. Not much, but it's all on this card. Ruyan took out a bank card. Please donate it all to the orphanage for me. Little Liu, the director called out to him, heartbroken. Liu Ruyan said, I have no family. This orphanage is my home. Thank you. The director was deeply saddened, so much so his voice choked with emotion. Liu Ruyan shook his head, indicating there was no need to worry. Then he added, after I die, director, please bury me next to Fang Yuan. The director later learned that I had died. He was shocked when he found out, but eventually understood why Liu Ruyan had suddenly returned from Beijing and never left again. Director Hao nodded solemnly. Don't tell anyone that I've died. I don't want to be disturbed, and I don't want Fang Yuan and me to be disturbed either. The director replied quickly, all right, I won't say anything. I won't tell a soul. After finishing his final requests, Liu Ruyan smiled peacefully. He said, Fang Yuan, I won't wait for you anymore. I'm coming to find you. Liu Ruyan passed away 3 days later. During those 3 days, I suddenly felt my soul gradually fading away. It turned out it wasn't that Liu Ruyan had forgotten me. That made me disappear. But that Liu Ruyan's death would cause me to vanish. So, you fool Liu Ruyan. You still couldn't find me. Once you die, I'll truly be gone. I took one last look at Liu Ruyan lying in his hospital bed, watching as he slowly closed his eyes. A faint smile lingered on his lips, with anticipation. But my soul began to shatter, started turning into a tiny little firefly. My consciousness also started fading, until it was completely lost. In that final moment, I vaguely heard a voice by my ear. He said, Fang Yuan, I think I saw fireflies. Side story Su Ran's perspective. This is my 5th attempt to successfully win over Ruyan. When I first received the system's mission, I arrived in this world full of excitement. The system told me that my identity this time would be the male lead, and success meant making the female lead fall for the male lead. The female lead falling for the male lead. Isn't that supposed to happen naturally? Why would I even need to win her over? On the first day after I transmigrated, I confidently went straight to find the thin-down female lead, Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan looked at me with utter disdain. That look was absolutely unmatched. There was this feeling that I wasn't the male lead, but rather Pilaf. Well, needless to say, the result was failure. Second reincarnation. I learned from my first failure. I no longer bluntly revealed my identity. Instead, I approached him gradually, set aside my dignity to please him, put all my effort into being good to him, even resorted to using seduction to lure him, but still failed. Third reincarnation. I tried yet another approach. Liu Ruyan adores Fang Yuan, right? So much so it's practically faded. So I decided to win over Fang Yuan first, build a good relationship with him. I knew he was going to die. Once he died, I could naturally stay by Liu Ruyan's side, and then move Liu Ruyan emotionally. Fang Yuan did indeed die, but I still failed to move Liu Ruyan. Fourth reincarnation. I changed tactics again. Aside from Fang Yuan, Liu Ruyan loves music most, so I desperately wrote songs for him. I wrote countless popular, well-received songs for him. I wanted to make him admire me through talent, and fall in love with me. He truly did appreciate me, but he still rejected me. He said love and admiration are two different things. Fifth reincarnation. This time was the closest I've ever gotten to victory, and also the most painful fall. After 4 devastating failures, even the system probably couldn't bear to watch anymore. It said, just this once, I'll give you an extra boost. I'll make Liu Ruyan forget Fang Yuan. So this time, I could finally get genuinely close to Liu Ruyan. This time, I constantly reminded myself not to rush or be overly eager. First I went to find Fang Yuan, told them both about the rules of this world, told them about his impending death, asked him to leave Liu Ruyan willingly, so Liu Ruyan would believe Fang Yuan had abandoned him. Fang Yuan really did just that. Liu Ruyan was left behind. I didn't immediately go to him, because the system granted me an additional ability. So besides seeing Liu Ruyan's affection level toward me, I could also see his progress in forgetting Fang Yuan. When he reached 98% forgetting Fang Yuan, that's when I started my real pursuit, because at that number, it never changed anymore. But indeed, this Liu Ruyan is clearly different from the ones before. He looked at me with admiration. He no longer rejected my closeness. He was even willing to write songs and choreograph dances with me. From dawn to dusk, and then to dawn again, our relationship progressed rapidly. I saw Liu Ruyan's fondness for me quickly rise from 0 to 98%. Yet Liu Ruyan's progress in forgetting Fang Yuan remained stubbornly stuck at 98%. That remaining 2% just wouldn't budge, mocking me as if laughing at my inability to make Liu Ruyan love me 100%, or completely forget Fang Yuan. Fortunately, the system told me that those 2% wouldn't affect whether the mission was deemed successful. As long as Liu Ruyan married me, those 2% could be ignored. The only potentially problematic thing, the system said, was that if Liu Ruyan couldn't fully forget Fang Yuan's soul would forever remain by Liu Ruyan's side. In other words, while Liu Ruyan and I were loving each other, Fang Yuan would always be watching. I suddenly felt a pang of sympathy for him. But such are the rules of this world. Any deviation leads to collapse. Liu Ruyan announced our engagement at his concert. I cried tears of joy. For the 5th time, I was finally about to complete my mission. In that moment, my emotion felt like more than just mission success. I think I genuinely fallen in love with Liu Ruyan, the woman I'd had to pursue through 5 attempts. It's hard not to develop feelings for someone like her. My system is fairly humane. After mission completion, it allows me to stay in this world until I die naturally. Before moving on to my next assignment, I looked forward to the future Liu Ruyan and I would share in this world. But then suddenly, he seemed to remember Fang Yuan again. I watched his memory loss bar fluctuate wildly between 80% and 98%. Panicked, I asked the system why. How can this be? Weren't all memories erased? Why is he remembering again? The system admitted it didn't know. It had never encountered this before. It suggested perhaps the memories ran too deep, so deeply ingrained they were carved into his very bones, even forming muscle memory. And while the system could manipulate superficial neural pathways, it couldn't control anything deeper. Despairingly, I watched Liu Ruyan walk away. In that instant, it felt just like the previous 4 failures, each time leaving me with nothing but a cold retreating back. Liu Ruyan disappeared for 3 days. When I saw him again, I broke down. His affection for me had dropped back to 40% and kept decreasing. His memory of Fang Yuan had surged back to 90%. He remembered almost everything about Fang Yuan. I was going to fail again, but I was truly terrified. So I told Liu Ruyan everything. I hoped he'd compromise for his own sake, or for the sake of this world. But a world without Liu Ruyan is Fang Yuan's world. Once he has him, there's no room for anyone else. Now I finally understood why this mission carried such a high point value. It really was incredibly difficult and painful. Liu Ruyan left, abandoning everything, without so much as a backward glance. I secretly searched for Liu Ruyan afterward. I saw how aged he'd become. By rejecting the story's progression, his body began deteriorating rapidly. Yet despite knowing exactly how to save himself, he still chose to stay by Feng Yuan's side. I gave up. I told the system, reset it. There's no need to wait until Liu Ruyan dies. But before I died, I asked the system, can I change my target character? The system asked me back, are you sure you want to give up? Yes, 5 times is enough. 5 times has been enough for me to face reality. If you give up, you'll be penalized double the points for this mission. The system reminded me. Fine, points can be earned again. But my heart shouldn't be hurt too deeply. It'll affect future missions. Then, I'll assign you a new target character host. Wait, I called out to stop the system. Decision? No. Can I change the plot? Could you let the female lead end up with her childhood sweetheart instead? I've died 5 times. Liu Ruyan and Feng Yuan have also suffered separation and tragedy 5 times. They just can't remember any of it each time. The system fell silent for a long while. It seems I put him in a tough spot. He finally said it wasn't entirely impossible. But it would cost you all your accumulated points. Are you willing to trade all your points for this? He added that only by earning enough points. Can you return to your original world? Your points have already reached 80%. Are you really willing to give it all up for them? I nodded without hesitation, yes. It's not that I don't want to go back. I just suddenly realized maybe this is the true meaning of being a plot influencer. The system wiped out all my points and started my next mission. Again in the same world with Liu Ruyan and Feng Yuan, but with a different target character this time. The system said I'm now the male lead. Whoever I pursue becomes the female lead. So, Liu Ruyan, you've become a side character now. I sat in the audience at Liu Ruyan's concert, listening to her sing once more. After she finished the song Rebel Heart, Betray My Lord, she announced loudly, Feng Yuan and I are getting married next month. She was so emotional tears streamed down her face on stage. On the big screen, Feng Yuan's eyes welled up as he laughed joyfully. Down in the crowd, my own vision blurred with tears. Yet I still forced a smile and whispered, congratulations, Liu Ruyan. Fans in the venue spontaneously began singing the chorus together, waiting, unafraid of time slipping away. Unafraid of the long road ahead.